What is power of a test? Before that, we'll just plot the confusion matrix. So we'll create a confusion matrix. Confusion matrix. Okay. So let's create a confusion matrix. So we'll create a confusion matrix for alternate hypothesis. Mhm. 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 So this is my alternate hypothesis. So this is true, this is false, this is true, this is false, this is false. So let's say this is your actual or actual ground truth or true. This is the truth, and this is your observed. Okay, this is your observed. This is actual ground truth, and this is your observed. On the horizontal, these are my actual values, which is the ground truth, and these are my observed values. So if my alternate hypothesis is true, okay, and I okay, so let's see the true and true. This is okay. If my alternate hypothesis is true and I find that this is true, then good. If my alternate hypothesis is false and I found that after that this is false, this is also good. So these are good brackets to be in. So all these diagonal elements will be good. I can have multiple entries also. Sorry. So this is good. Let me make this tick a bit smaller. Okay. So this is good. The problem is, if alternate hypothesis is false and I predict it as true, my observation is true based on the data that I have. This is a problem. So this entry and this entry is a problem. So my actual is false, but my test says that my observation is true. So we tell this as, what do we say? We call this as false positive. Okay, false positive. And if in actual this is true, but my test says that this is false, then this will be a, actually it is true, but I'm telling it's a false. Then this will be a false negative. Both are false. So these are true is true. This is true positive, true negative. Okay, so we say this is true positive, this is true negative. Both are true, no problem. But this is a false positive. It is actually false, but I'm telling my test is saying that this is true. This is a false positive. And actually it is true, but my test says that this is false. So this is a false negative. I hope these terms are clear. So anything which falls here, this is not good. So this is not acceptable. This is not good. So I'll put a cross. So all these diagonal elements are good and the non-diagonal elements are not good. And this is what is called, so these have got other names. So this is also called false positives. As I mentioned earlier, this is also called type 1 error. Type 1 error. And this is equal to your alpha also. That is your significance level. And this is your type 2 error. This is false negatives, type 2 error. And this is equal to beta. Okay. So if this is alpha and the whole sum is 1, so what will be this value? This will be your 1 minus alpha. And this will be 1 minus beta. All this sums up to 1 because there will be total truth will be there, total false will be there. Okay. So this is your type 1 error is alpha, this is your significance level, and this is your type 2 error. And all the diagonal elements are 2. Now let's focus on these entries. Okay. Quickly. So type 1 error is your alpha, type 2 is beta. So this is here. So what is the power of test? Power of test is this entry. That if it is true and I'm predicting is that if alternate hypothesis is true and I'm predicting it as true, then this is your this is a right thing to do. This is your power of test. That if it is true, I'm predicting it as true, then this is good. This is your power of test. Simply put, this is your power of test is equal to 1 minus beta. Okay. That probability of, this is the probability of correctly accepting the alternate hypothesis. In words, it is probability of correctly accepting your alternate hypothesis or probability of correctly rejecting the null hypothesis. Okay. And significance level or your alpha is your false positive rate or type 1 error. Okay. So this is the maximum risk that we are willing to take to incorrectly reject a true null hypothesis. So these are just wordplay, but if you understand this, okay, so the statements will start making sense. So this is null alternate hypothesis was true, and my test also found it true, and this is the power of test. This is the more important thing to understand. And the false positive rate is my significance table. This is your alpha. Okay, ideally this should be complete 100 and this should be 0, but that's not the case. Okay, alpha is generally 5%, and for medical tests we also go till 0.1%. For example, if I have a test for cancer, then it should not falsely tell that a person has cancer. Or if, for example, it's the other way around, if a person has cancer and my test falsely says that no, the person doesn't have cancer. So these kind of things, they should be very strict. So there the alpha is 0.1%. Okay.